Los Angeles shines under the lights of Chavez Ravine, but before the recent championships, before the rings and the records, there were names that built the soul of this team with blood, sweat, and courage. Some changed the sport forever, others broke barriers that seemed impossible to overcome. Get ready, because today we're revealing the 10 greatest players in Dodgers history, and the name that closes this list will give you chills. Starting off our ranking is one of the most dominant arms baseball has ever seen. Sandy Koufax wasn't born a phenom. He spent his early years struggling with his own control, even considering giving up. But something changed, and suddenly he became untouchable, throwing with almost supernatural precision. A practicing Jew, Koufax refused to pitch a World Series game that fell on Yom Kippur, a gesture that turned him into a symbol far beyond the sport. His career was short, cut off early by chronic arm pain, but his legend is eternal. No list of Dodgers legends would be complete without the man who changed American history. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in professional baseball in 1947, facing threats, insults, and pressure that few athletes have ever felt. Before putting on the Dodgers uniform, he had already served as an Army officer and faced a court-martial for refusing to move to the back of a segregated bus. On the field, he played with a rebellious intensity, stealing bases with a boldness that infuriated opponents. His number 42 was retired league-wide, a tribute unique in the history of the sport. Next up is the face of the team that won hearts in Brooklyn before the move to Los Angeles. Duke Snider was known as the Duke of Flatbush, a powerful hitter who competed directly with Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle for the title of New York's best player. Early on, many doubted his patience at the plate, but he matured into one of the greatest home run hitters of his generation. Snider carried a special bond with Brooklyn fans, and decades later, he was still welcomed like a hero every time he returned for team events. Behind home plate, no one commanded the game like Roy Campanella. The son of an Italian father and an African-American mother, he faced prejudice from both sides even before reaching the major leagues. Campanella was named National League MVP 3 times, an extremely rare feat for a catcher. His career had a tragic ending. In 1958, a car accident left him paralyzed, abruptly cutting short his time on the field. Even so, he remained connected to the organization, inspiring generations with his resilience and becoming a symbol of strength both on and off the diamond. Alongside Koufax in the rotation stood a giant, both literally and figuratively, named Don Drysdale. Standing nearly 6'6", he intimidated hitters just by stepping onto the mound. Drysdale had a reputation for not hesitating to hit opposing batters if he felt his team was being disrespected, an attitude that made him as feared as he was respected. He and Koufax formed a historic duo in the 1960s, helping the Dodgers capture multiple titles. Interestingly, Drysdale also built a successful career as a sports broadcaster after hanging up his cleats. Few stories in sports are as moving as that of Fernando Valenzuela. In 1981, a young, unknown Mexican pitcher with a peculiar habit of looking up at the sky before throwing burst onto the scene and created the phenomenon known as Fernando Mania. Mexican and Latin American fans packed stadiums just to watch him play, forging a deep cultural connection between the team and the Latino community of Los Angeles. Valenzuela won both the Rookie of the Year and Cy Young awards in the same season, a historic feat never before achieved by a rookie. At the heart of the Brooklyn Dodgers defense stood Pee Wee Reese, the captain who became an essential ally to Jackie Robinson. There's a famous, perhaps legendary story of Reese putting his arm around Robinson on the field in front of a hostile crowd, a quiet gesture of support that echoed for decades. Reese wasn't the most physically talented player, but his leadership and baseball intelligence made him a key piece of championship teams. He was the shortstop who kept the clubhouse united during one of the most tense periods in baseball history. One of the most magical moments in recent Dodgers history has a name attached to it: Orel Hershiser. In 1988, he put together a nearly flawless streak of pitching, breaking the record for consecutive scoreless innings, a feat that seemed impossible to surpass. That season ended with an improbable World Series title, with Hershiser named MVP of both the Championship Series and the Fall Classic. His nickname, Bulldog, reflected exactly the relentless mentality he carried on the field, despite his calm appearance off of it. Closing out our top 10 is a pioneer who helped open doors alongside Jackie Robinson. Don Newcombe was one of the first African-American pitchers to make a name for himself in the major leagues, winning the Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, and MVP awards over the course of his career, a feat no other player has matched to this day. After leaving baseball, Newcombe publicly battled alcoholism, later becoming one of the strongest advocates for rehabilitation within the Dodgers organization, helping other players overcome the same struggles he once faced. These 10 names represent far more than numbers on a stat sheet. They represent courage, perseverance, and moments that shape not only Dodgers history, but the history of American sports itself. From Koufax to Newcombe, each of them left a unique mark on Los Angeles, creating memories that carry across generations of fans.